Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to explain in a very simple way the theory and derivation for gravitational energy and escape velocity. I have launched a rocket. The Earth is rotating from west to east. The rocket goes up and then turns towards the east. In this absolutely stunning silhouette of the Earth against the night sky, we see two terms. R stands for the radius of the Earth from the center of the Earth. This is the place where the rocket is launched from the Earth's surface. It reaches a height h, and we have to find out the relationship between the height h and the initial velocity of launch. If the rocket is launched at an escape velocity, then it will not fall back into the Earth's surface and it will go into outer space. Let us fix some terminologies such as u for initial velocity, ve for escape velocity, h for the height, and v final for the final velocity of the rocket at a height h. We have to use the law of conservation of energy to get into the equation and relationships between height h and escape velocity. Conservative force means that the work done by the force, which is equal to the energy, will be the same. The work done will be the same whether we move the rocket from point A to point B in a straight path or in a curved path or in a wavy path. The initial and final energies will be the same, not depending upon the flight path of the rocket. Similarly, if the rocket comes back from height h to the ground, the energy will be the same from the height to the surface of the Earth. Let's play a game of cricket. We throw a ball up vertically to a height h. It comes back vertically. We also throw a ball along a curved path and it comes back to the cricket ground along another curved path. In both these cases, the gravitational force is the only force acting on the cricket ball apart from air resistance. Keeping that air resistance aside for a moment, the gravitational force is such that the total energy of the cricket ball, which is a sum total of kinetic energy and potential energy, is the same whether it's going up vertically or in some other path. Therefore, the gravitational force is considered as a conservative force because it's independent of the path of motion and it only depends on the initial and final positions of the mass. The air resistance is a non-conservative force. So the whoosh of a rocket or the slowing down of the ball due to air resistance is not considered in the equation. The gravitational force is such that the total energy of the cricket ball or the rocket will be conserved 100%. The law of conservation of energy works, which means that there are no intermediate losses between point A to point B, and the initial and final energies at point A and point B are only a function of those positions, not a function of the path taken by the rocket or the ball. To understand conservative forces, it's good to look at the opposite, non-conservative forces. Frictional force is an example. In this sketch, we are moving a block from left to right along the white arrow, and immediately the opposing force of friction is set up between the block and the ground. The work done by this friction is W is equal to frictional force into the distance S. And it can be lost at the ground by some heat or some sound as well. When we move the block from right to left, the same thing repeats. There is that pink arrow showing frictional force. That's causing a work done of frictional force into the distance. The energy is lost and dissipated as thermal energy or sound energy. And both these frictional forces in the to and fro motion are lost forever. They cannot be conserved. Hence, frictional force is considered as a non-conservative force. Beautiful vertical launch of a rocket. Let's derive the equation based on this vertical launch. The initial energy of the rocket at the surface of the Earth is equal to its final energy, the height h, and the total energy at any given point of time is Ke plus Pe. And now we have to derive the equation for both Ke and Pe. The Ke is simple. Half mv squared is the same. And here we have Vi for the initial velocity, which later becomes Ve for the escape velocity. Potential energy is tricky and it needs some thought. Potential energy symbol at the radius of the Earth on the surface is U of r. At a height h, it would be U r plus h. Simple way to remember this is the work energy equivalence. So the work done is force into distance. The gravitational force is gmm by r squared. Multiply this by the distance from the surface to the center of the Earth, which is radius r, and we get gmm by r. However, the potential energy has a minus sign, so that U of r is minus gmm by r. This needs some close understanding. Let's derive the work done, which is defined as the work done to bring a mass from infinity to the surface of the Earth, which is at a radius r. Therefore, work equal to integration of dw. We put the limits as infinity to r. dw is nothing but the gravitational force F into the small displacement dx. F is gmm by x squared. And when we do the integration, we get x to the power minus 1 by minus 1. The minus 1 comes out of the brackets, so it sticks to minus gmm, and 1 by x becomes 1 by r minus 1 by infinity. Therefore, the work done becomes minus gmm by r. This is same as the potential energy ur equal to minus gmm by r. Now we line up the initial total mechanical energy with the final total mechanical energy. The final kinetic energy of the rocket is straightforward. It's half m into v final whole square. By the way, that's 0 at a finite height h. The final potential energy of the rocket is u r plus h. That's minus gmm by r plus h. Plugging all this into the energy equation and cancelling out m term in all that, we will land up with u squared by 2 minus gm by r equal to minus gm by r plus h. Our objective here is to find an equation for r plus h. And this is a sticky point because we can't do cross multiplication and arrive at a simplified equation. So we have to do a tricky thing. We know that force on any mass is equal to mg, where small g is acceleration due to gravity. The gravitational force of attraction on that mass is also equal to gmm by r squared. Equate these two and we get capital G into capital M equal to small g into r squared. Put that into the earlier equation and we get half u squared minus gr equal to minus gr squared by r plus h. Still, we haven't got something clean for r plus h, which we should. But now don't cross multiply anything. Divide all the terms by small g, the acceleration due to gravity. And massaging all these terms, we get r plus h separately as equal to r squared divided by r minus u squared by 2g. This is a straightforward way to find height h, because r is usually known in all the numericals and u is usually given. From a conceptual point of view, if the initial launch velocity u is equal to the escape velocity, then the rocket will escape the Earth's atmosphere and go all the way to infinity, at least theoretically, unless it's attracted by some other planets and asteroids. If the launch velocity is greater than Ve, then the final velocity of the rocket at infinity will be greater than 0. Now let's look at the derivation of the equation for escape velocity. Once again, we apply the same law of conservation of mechanical energy. In this case, for initial velocity, instead of u, we can plug in Ve. All the other things remain the same. On the right hand side of the equation, final velocity is 0 when the rocket goes to infinity. Also, the term gmm by r plus h becomes 0 when h is equal to infinity. So the equation becomes pretty simple and we get half mve squared minus gmm by r is equal to 0. Now it is straightforward. We get the escape velocity Ve as square root of 2gm by r. This shows that throughout the universe, the escape velocity for Earth or the Moon, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, any other planet is only a function of that planet's mass and radius and the universal gravitation constant g. As a part of holistic learning, please remember that rockets are never launched just vertically. When they are launched up to a particular height, since the Earth and its atmosphere is rotating from west to east, like my animation at the beginning of this video, in the same way, the rocket is turned towards the east as it attains a particular height, and that saves a lot of fuel for getting that rocket into a trajectory and into the Earth's orbit. The details of the rocket's trajectory are very complex and not in scope of this video. I hope this video was useful for you. Please share it with all your friends. Do subscribe to our channel to see our 250 videos. And if you have any questions, feel free to write here or to my email ID. Have a great day. Bye-bye.